What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of OP Pick or Ban. My name is Christoph, and today we're going to be covering the hottest picks right now that you either need to pick or need to ban in every single one of your games. But before we get into it, let's do our question of the day. Which champion has your favorite quote? Personally, I kind of like Twitch's. His is, "What doesn't kill you just hasn't finished you yet." Hopefully he's not talking about the coronavirus here. Let me know what you guys think down below. And before we get into the video, if you guys want to get better at League of Legends, make sure to check out proguides.com. Go find your challenger coach. There's no better time to do it right now when we're all stuck inside. Go have some fun with a coach. They're great people to help you win more games. All right, guys, let's get right into the video. Spinning into the list is our first OP pick or ban candidate, and that's going to be Garen. Garen has been strong for a while now, boasting a 53% win rate in Plat and above, and a 54% win rate at all ranks, but he's continued his rampage into 10.6, and it looks like he's here to stay for a while longer. As we all know, Garen is a monster in the top lane, and outside of picking a ranged champion, he's very hard to deal with, and even harder to keep down. Garen is far from the most subtle champion in League of Legends, but one of the more subtle reasons he's so strong is because Garen loves to take Ignite for the extra surprise kill pressure it offers. When you combine Ignite with Nimbus Cloak, you basically break the land speed record for lawnmowers while you run down the enemy champions with Q and then pop E to shred them like the weeds they are. Unless you're picking him or rocking one of his hardest counters like Darius, Quinn, or Teemo, you probably want to just ban him and call it a day. Maokai is our second OP pick or ban contender for the top lane. Due to him kind of being a relative sleeper pick, he has a pretty low pick rate, so he's not necessarily worth a ban, but he makes a strong asset for any team he's on in the right hands. Maokai has gone untouched for a long time now, and as such, his stats are top of the line, and his CC-heavy kit lends itself well to the emerging meta of tanks and team fighting. His Q's knockback and his W's root are good peeling tools, plus his W can let him dodge important abilities and win trades. His E's saplings keep territory safe for him, and his ultimate is an excellent lane-wide ability useful for engaging or for peeling for your carries. He may not be the most fun and exciting champion in the world, but he has such a wealth of resources that you'd be silly to not add him to your repertoire before he becomes super meta. Seriously though, every time Maokai shows up in the spotlight, he leaves his mark. Get it while the getting is good. Okay guys, here's a quick recap of those top lane builds for you. Okay, now on to the jungle. Zac Jungle is going to be our first pick in the jungle, and for those familiar with him, you won't be very surprised. Zac is doing pretty well in high elo with a 51.5% win rate and a very impressive 52% win rate in lower elo. Like we've said in the past few videos, tanks are very strong right now, and Zac has the best ganks of any tank jungler on their roster. His E lets him enter the lane from multiple angles, and at later levels he can even gank you from further outside the edge of your screen. Once he lands on a target and knocks them up, he can CC them even further with his Q's knock together and his ult's knock back. It's just very hard to deal with getting ganked by one of League's biggest health bars from 12 miles away, so if your team doesn't look like it's going to have enough tools to keep Zac down, just ban it and save yourself the trouble. Elise is actually still untouched, so she's still thoroughly webbed into OP status. Nothing new here, but Elise is one of the strongest early game champions on the roster, especially one for a jungler. With ridiculous base damage, her E is a stun with decent range, or you can use it in spider form and land yourself closer to the enemy, then swap back to human form to get an easier short-range stun. Once it lands, well, her damage will do the rest of the work for you, bursting targets down in the blink of an eye. Plus, her ability to pull off dives and repeat ganks makes her an extremely oppressive champion if the player controlling her has the right aggressive mindset to shove a lead down their enemies' throats. If you don't particularly love the idea of having the game decided within the first 10 minutes, then just ban her. If you do, then play her and watch your enemies rage quit before you. She is quite hard though, so I recommend going to proguides and getting a coach if you want to play her in ranked. In kind of an unconventional move for us, we're going to be actually tying in two junglers as bonus picks for lower elo, and those picks are Amumu and Rammus. They're both tanky, they're both easy to pick up and play, and most importantly, they're very influential on their games with very, very little effort. Amumu has a nice long-range gank with his Q, a pretty healthy jungle clear with Hunter's Talisman empowering his AoE abilities, and he also has one of the most impactful teamfight ultimates in the game. stunning everyone around him in a large circle. Rammus, on the other hand, ganks at the speed of sound, gets enormous bonus tank stats for free, and can keep a target locked in place with his taunt. His ult isn't super noticeable in a fight, but it'll grind targets down if they don't respect it. Plus, Boots of Swiftness makes his ganks even more lethal. If you're against heavy AD though, you can of course go Ninja Tabby for the extra armor. Anyhow, if you're gold or lower, either play these champions or ban them because they'll ruin your day otherwise. Okay guys, so here are all the jungle builds one last time as we go and run it down mid. Our premier pick or ban champion for the mid lane is going to be Twisted Fate. He's getting a pretty substantial buff this patch with his blue card going from a 50% AP ratio to a 90% AP ratio. What this basically means is that TF has been unchained by Riot. The champion blessed by Faker has the same strong wave clear as before, the same strong roam potential as before, but now he can also one-shot targets instead of being a walking point-and-click stun bot. The only thing gating AP Twisted Fate from extreme popularity before was a lack of damage, and since that won't be a factor anymore, look forward to seeing the card slinger in your games frequently. Twisted Fate is a champion that capitalizes on his map presence, so if macro is your strong suit as a player, you should think about picking him up. If macro isn't your strong suit, follow Faker's advice and play him to improve your map awareness. Either way, play Twisted Fate, just don't waste your ult to Uber yourself back to lane. I'll cry. Fizz is another champion who simply hasn't been touched by the balanced team in a while, which is kind of crazy because I'm pretty sure a lot of Rioters actually watch our tier list videos, and Fizz has consistently been in the mid lane S+ tier, so come on Riot, just watch our videos, make the changes that League needs. Fizz is one of the best options for mid laners looking to take control of their own games. He has stupid high burst damage, lots of mobility, and his ult has enough range on it that he's good at roaming and ganking side lanes as well. The outplay potential of his ease, untargetability combined with his damage makes him an absolute terror on the Rift, and once you've completed Protobelt and Zhonya's, you're even more annoying to catch and kill. So invest in Fizz or get used to seeing that gray screen. We're throwing those mid lane builds one more time on the screen as we head down to the bot lane. Ezreal has finally recovered from the loss of Klepto, and he's as solid of a pick as he's always been. Even though Klepto is gone, Riot has given Ezreal some appropriate compensation buffs, and in Klepto's place, 2 runes have taken the spotlight. Lethal Tempo is currently the more preferable option for most games, but Conqueror has a place in Ezreal's Winfinity Gauntlet as well, offering him some sustain against scarier comps. Outside of that, it's Ezreal's business as usual. Long-range poke with Q, W bonus damage, mobility through his E, and a fun little global snipe with his ultimate. With such a safe kit and such high damage scaling, who needs a map anyway? Another repeat pick is going to be Miss Fortune. She's making a return as our second bot lane OP pick or ban champion. She's back with us because, well, she's still dominant for the exact same reasons. Her Q's bounce crit is disgusting, her W's movement speed lets her rotate to objectives and teamfights faster than most other ADCs, her E acts as a self-peel and zone control, and her ult will win you a teamfight on its own if you pull the trigger at the right time. Miss Fortune is stacked, and unless you have a very dive-heavy comp to get onto her and delete her from existence, you're gonna be in trouble if she's on the enemy team. Okay guys, here are the bot lane builds one last time as we head into support. Moving on to the support picks, we have Nami at number 1. In a world where all-in potential is at war with enchanter abilities for the dominant spot in the meta. Wow, my In a World impression is just god-awful. Okay, so in a world where all-in potential is at war with enchanter abilities for the dominant spot in the meta, Nami kind of offers a little bit of both. She's a jack-of-all-trades support, offering a little bit of everything. Well, actually, she offers a little too much of everything if you ask me. Nami can dominate lane phase with her kit. It's pretty hard to argue with a W that can both deal damage to her enemies and heal her allies. If she wants to lock down a kill, all she has to do is use her E's movement speed slow to make her Q's AoE stun easier to land. Never mind the fact that her passive makes chasing enemies down even easier. Her ult? Well, it's a lane-wide engage tool, but she can use it to peel for her teammate and disengage as well. Usually, well-rounded kits like Nami's are better regulated to reflect the fact that they're good at most things, but Nami's kit really just feels over-tuned right now, and she's seeing success in a lot of matchups at most elos. Last but absolutely not least is Bard. Bard mains are elusive creatures, but you'll know them when you see them. Being such a weird champion in general, Bard has the advantage of most people not really knowing how to deal with him. He's a support, but he specializes in abandoning his ADC and playing like he's basically a second jungler, using his E to roam as much as possible between waves. His current popular build capitalizes on his versatility and high base damage, since Moby's gives him roam potential and Deadman's makes his roams even more deadly. Combine that with a rapid fire cannon to increase the range at which he can apply that slow, and you can start to see why a good bard is something to be feared. It's not that they'll just win the lane, they'll win the game before you even have time to ping that they're missing. Chime on, you crazy bardsters, chime on. Alright guys, we're going to show you these builds one more time as we conclude the video. Alright guys, that's it for the video. If you guys enjoyed it, please leave a like and consider subscribing for more content like this. And once again, if you guys want to get better at League of Legends right now, go to proguides.com where you'll find your challenger coach. That's it for the video guys, thank you so much for watching, good luck in your next few games, and I'll see you on the Rift.